through 2024, Youth Proactive, we have been developing these youthful webinars, as I was mentioning, connected with the European Youth Strategy and the 11 European Youth Goals. So today's webinar, it's connected to Youth Goal 8, which is focused on quality learning, new skills for the 21st century. So it's about skills, and it's about, what are the different ways of developing skills, also non-academic related. And for this, oh, my apologies, what happened here? Oh, really, so sorry. So for this, we have our guest speaker of the day, Beatriz Belair. She's the director of Mundus Association, Asociación Mundus, which is based in the beautiful city of Zaragoza in Spain. And we are going to be discussing so many topics, but mostly we are going to be a little bit targeting the African continent in general and the SAM project in particular. I'm not going to tell you what SAM is about because we have the presence of Beatriz here. But in any case, if you want to have the info, at the moment, I would really encourage all of you. First, to scan the QR code for Mundus Association, super comprehensive website. All the projects are there. And secondly, to scan the dedicated website for the SAM project. I will just also put the links in the chat afterwards, so you also have access to this. And something I forgot regarding housekeeping, feel free to use the chat at any time. We have a dedicated section at the end for Q&A, but if there is a pressing question in the moment that we are talking, Beatriz and myself, that you really find it's like the pertinent moment, let us know. Just raise a hand. You know how to raise a hand in the Zoom, or make a comment in the chat, and I will be monitoring this. So please feel free to do so. And now I'm going to introduce Beatriz. And really, I don't know where to start, because Beatriz's trajectory it's so vast, it's so dense, it's so wow, so inspiring. For me as a professional woman at the moment in Brussels, it's very inspiring what Beatriz has been, doing professionally and also from the academic point side. So I'm really going to read this, Beatriz, because it's very detailed. So Beatriz it's a translator originally in French and English. She holds a master's in translation with a focus on geopolitics. And she's been working in EU projects for 21 years, if I'm not wrong, for more than 2 decades, indeed. And concretely, and this really matters with today's topic, she's specialized in EU programs connected with 2 key elements: lifelong learning and capacity building for social groups at risk of exclusion. At the more Spanish regional level, she's been coordinating the Europro platform for the government of Aragon in Spain. And as I was saying, she's been really writing, monitoring, and implementing above 200 projects. So you can imagine the number of, partners, stakeholders she's been, in charge, and she's been still in connection to. And for today's topic, she has a vast expertise in the African continent. And, as I just mentioned now, she was the writer. She designed the SAM pilot project, gathering over 36 partners, both in the EU countries and the African continent. So with this said, Beatriz, we are now going to, you're going to guide me in this moment now. We are going to present a little bit, with what the SAM project is about, and more general, what Mundus is about. So I have 2 presentations. Let me just stop sharing so I will be able. So we start first with the Mundus Africa, isn't it? Very good, wonderful. So let's meet.
The next one is just for you to, okay, so thank you so much for the invitation, Teresa, and Proactive. And really, I want to be very rapid just for you to understand why through Mundus we decided to go to Africa and to start our adventure there. Mundus is effectively, we are in Zaragoza. We have our headquarters here in Zaragoza, in Spain, but it's not a very long time working as an association, only like 11 years now. and we are specialized in international mobility, using it as a tool to make possible exchange, multicultural experiences, and to enhance all the transversal skills of the youth, because we think that moving in an international context is absolutely key for young people to really empower themselves. Next one. So we move a lot of people. Our main activity here is Zaragoza, except projects, are hosting internship here in the city. More than 4,000 people coming to the city, coming to the country, having their internship, moving around from, I don't know, 23 countries from Europe, but also from Africa now. Next one. Our expertise is internationalization of vet education. We are moving a lot young people in non-formal education, let's say, but for now, practically the whole 10 years, we are specialized in vet education, vocational education and training, and trying to give context, international context, and giving capacity to the trainers and to the learners. We use this tool through mobility excellence, and trying to have this mobility not only in numbers, but also in quality, giving the opportunity to a lot of groups under risk of exclusion, having the opportunity to move as well. And for us, it's not an opportunity to learn, okay? Next one. Okay, next one. This one is not relevant today. So now, except to this mobility department, which is great, huge, we have in our international project department. We are a small group of technicians, very specialized and expertise, 7 people with the Department of Communication, Logistics, and so on, but 7 technicians dealing now in 10 years, more than 50 projects in more than 50 countries. At the very beginning, like before 5 or 6 years ago, we were in Europe, but now, since 2020, we are working, 2019, we are working in Africa as well. Next one. So our work in Europe and in Africa is very similar. We use mobility expertise, fostering excellence in that. But of course, in Africa, we are dealing with projects which are transversal, but also specialized in some fields of education, because I will explain to you how capacity building in vet education opened in the Erasmus Plus program, for now more than 4 years. And that's why we decided to go to the main pillars which have to be developed in the continent of Africa, because they need that to develop and to grow and to be sustainable as a continent, which are renewable energy, of course, employability through entrepreneurship, and whatever dealing with digitalization as well. I will explain this in our conversation afterwards, Teresa. Next one. So our presence in Africa at the moment is over 25 countries. The ones who don't know already what is Africa. Africa is a continent, but it's not like our Europe. It's a continent of 54 countries. So it's very, very complicated to work there, because when you are working in Ivory Coast, you are not working the same way in Kenya, or in Nigeria, or in Sudan, or in Mali, or in Benin. As you already know, they are split in more or less 3 different regions respect to their language speaking. You have the French-speaking countries, you have the English-speaking countries, and the Portuguese-speaking countries. So they are really, really different. We are working with a lot of partners. Most of them are SMEs, industry, and vet schools, but also with ministry, European delegation, because when you are starting to work in such a huge and unknown continent, you should have with you all the support of all the public authorities to make this possible, because sometimes it's kind of challenging, okay? So right now, In this continent, we have like 11 right now, more, because it has been like 2 or 3 more projects, but like 15 projects ongoing.
Wow.
Some of them, next one. Some of them can be here related a little bit, okay? We work in vet education most of the time. Why? Because through Erasmus program, we have only the capacity to work in vet education through capacity building. Right now, I will explain this after. We can work with youth education, which is informal education, because capacity building in youth has opened the envelope of Africa, sub-Saharan countries. Okay, so right now, those projects are dealing to give and to build capacity for teachers and learners in vet education, depending on the fields of education. This first one, Smart Step, is on entrepreneurship. Then you have a lot of them on greening TVET, sustainability, circular economy, but you have as well renewable energy like Shine, which is working in Ghana, Nigeria, and Uganda on strengthening the skills in solar energy. And then you have tourism as well. Touredu for All is trying to give Kenya, Gambia, and Namibia a kind of new skills for the new tourism sector and system. And Impulse, we have entrepreneurship, which is the same like Smart Step, but instead of sub-Saharan Africa, it is in MENA countries, which is the northern part of Africa, in Tunisia, Libya, and Morocco. And now we have new ones with electricity, mechatronic, again, circular energy, waste management, etc., etc. Okay, these are what we are doing in Mundus right now. How and when did it start? With some. Why? So change, if you can, Teresa, change exactly.
This one, isn't it? Good.
Okay, just for you to understand, in Erasmus Plus, of course, I'm trying to explain that through Erasmus Plus, how we start to work in Africa. Of course, Erasmus Plus is not the only program where you can work in Africa. Of course not. You have a lot of them. Tenders, funding opportunities in Interreg, in some migration project, ETF as well, etc. But this started in 2019 when the European Commission and the African Union start to have a big umbrella program, which is the Global Gate program, which stated like priority in Africa with the main budgets in education that the European Commission want to work in non-EU country. Okay, so they start and they launch 2 pilot projects, one in Western Balkans and another in Africa. So we wrote this call for proposal, and we were selected together with another project, a smaller one, promoted by Italy, but some supporting Alliance for African Mobility started in 2020, just in the middle of the COVID time. Just in the middle of the pandemic, we were supposed to pilot the first mobility scheme program between Europe and Africa. What did we do? Next one. So this was quite easy. It was a mobility project. So we had to have like 3 phases. First, to move European staff to Africa, to acknowledge what's going on in 3 fields of education in more than 16 countries. From 8 European countries, they travel and they kind of study what was the situation in vet education, in tourism, in agriculture, and in engineering. Once this done, the second phase was African staff now can travel to Europe and have a kind of job shadowing to really have a peer-to-peer learning with their peers in Europe. So they came here and they came for 1 month. And during this 1 month, they had a capacity building in internationalization in Brussels. And Teresa knows that because we had a meeting with Teresa just during the second seminar of SAM in Brussels. In Brussels, they learned how to be international, because for them, for those vet school, it was the first time having an international relation as a school with other schools in Europe. Okay, once this done, they could also learn how to have new structure, new management tools for their schools, etc., etc. But they learn as well where their students in the future will move to Europe and where they will have their internship in SMEs in Europe and where they will learn vet classes as well. So they prepare this mobility together with their peers in Europe. And the third phase was the turn to students to come to Europe. For example, here in Zaragoza, we hosted like 2 groups from Nigeria and Benin coming for 1 month and having their internship with companies here in Zaragoza. It was the first time as an African vet students, not higher education students, vet students came to Europe to have their internship or their kind of Erasmus mobility. Okay, this was Africa. It was amazing. It was 4 years of great adventure, a lot of challenging situation, respect, of course, of mobility during COVID, and with very strong, problems in terms of administration, visa, passport, African people coming to the European territory, Schengen zone for a while and coming back, etc., etc. But the impact was so huge that the European Commission in 2022, only with 2 years of SAM running, they decided to open the opportunity in the program to have a kind of same like SAM working in vet between both continents. Wow. That's why we have had the project that I explained before came from this call for proposal once a year to give the opportunity in vet education to have this cooperation project. Each year, it's around 22 projects in Sub-Saharan Africa, region 9, giving the opportunity to have Europe going to Africa and trying to improve and to exchange peer-to-peer learning, methodology, etc., etc. We will have this discussion, Teresa and I, around what are the challenges. And each year, 2022 project. And for this year, this is the first time that not only vet education, but youth organization can have the same opportunity to have cooperation project 2 years, 3 years, running a youth empowerment capacity building project. So it's for us, for Mundus, as our target are not only vet schools and not only formal education, but informal education and youth. It is really a very great opportunity, and we will be there to apply and to have the opportunity to apply in a lot of projects together with our partners.
Wow, this is wonderful, Beatriz. And as you mentioned, this year the inclusion of Region 9, Sub-Saharan Africa, in the capacity building projects, I think this is like raising the sense of awareness that there are all these good practices taking place, and more regions need to be benefited from this, all this peer learning exchange.
Definitely. Your youth capacity building is open for not a lot. 2 programs now working with youth in capacity building, but we have been working in Asia, we have been working in Western Balkans, in neighboring countries, even in Latin America, in other regions, and Africa was not open already. And definitely for the continent of Africa and even for Europe, it is key. It is key to work not only in regular education, but also in the root, in grassroots, working with youth to make this possibility of resilience communities and sustainable in the future.
I fully agree, fully agree. And as you say, it connects with not only Erasmus Plus as a program, it also connects with so many different funding mechanisms that they all have the same goal at the end of the day, build this capacity building on the grassroots. This is great.
I
Wonderful. Beatrice, is there any more slide you want me to show or
The next one is really the results
this
that we.
one, isn't it?
I mean, these are numbers, great numbers, but these are only numbers. Yes, in some already you shared before the QR code of our website. Really, I invite all the assistants and participants today to visit our website in SAM, because you have a report ready to be downloaded, which give a kind of situation of vet education in more than 16 countries in Africa, and giving some recommendation to the vet schools to empower, to improve their methodology, etc., etc. You have a capacity building in internationalization with a toolkit, which is so great and so simple to use, to have it like your book on the side, to give step by step how you can get international from the very beginning through a strategy, but how to network, how to be present in all those webinars, conferences, and database that are so huge in Europe, where you can be invited in a project, because if you are not present, you cannot be invited. And if you are working and willing to work with Africa because you are a European organization, you need those people to raise their hand and just say, I'm here, I want to work with you. No, so this tool, very simple one. I really ask those participants willing to have this adventure to use it, because it's really comprehensive, let's say. And then we have, of course, manual to deal with mobility, intercontinental mobility, which is not easy at all, but we succeeded in having this. And I guess in the next program in 27, 2034, it will be on the agenda. We will have some mobility project and program intercontinental, I'm sure. And then the network, some network, but we are reshaping a little bit. So this is the only all the results that we have had with SAM.
I highly recommend the report. I downloaded it a few days ago, and as a researcher myself, mostly migration studies, but interested in circular mobility, it's a treasure. Really, it's a treasure. You did a wonderful job.
Thank you so much to say that, because it has been maybe the results most difficult to develop and to gain. Even the methodology that we had, and I wrote in the paper, was not absolutely possible. We had to change many times how to get the figures, the data, because you know what? When you are desk research and having this, what's going on in Uganda? What's going on in Nigeria? You get those data and they are not true, most of them. So once you are on the ground, in situ, you really realize how different is the situation and the data, what you have in the net. So we really had, this report was supposed to be done the first year and a half, and we ended the report 4 years after. So I don't know if it's useful, but it has been a big work, big deal.
Really, congratulations on that. And I can tell you personally, I will make a good of use of it. As the reason you just mentioned, accurate data.
Yes.
Reference data, which it's pivotal when you are doing research, and especially in this topic. Wonderful. Beatrice, I think we can move now to our segment of questions. Let me see where I have my presentation. Wonderful, wonderful. We have a question by Mr. Chafar. Mr. Chafar, would you like to ask the question now, or do you think we can wait for the Q&A?
As you like. I haven't a problem.
Let's wait, okay, because we are going to have 10 minutes. Today, even if in theory we are supposed to finalize at 30, I think we can have an extra 5 minutes. If this works with Beatrice, of course.
Not a problem.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so
this country is yours, a beloved one for our Mundus organization. Tunisia, we have great connections with Tunisia.
yeah, I think we have now two partners from two different Tunisian organizations joining us today. So that's great. That's great. Okay, so Beatrice, so we wait, Mr. Jafar. I will keep this in mind. Let me just check very quickly because we have some. Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Mr. Jafar, for the question. We will proceed afterwards, and thanks a lot. Okay, so Beatrice, let's move now to the segment of questions. Like really long questions, but in a way, I think to some extent we have been already discussing some of these key elements, and now we are going to bring the details of the SAM project. So I'm really going to read the questions very slowly, so all our participants have the opportunity also, to focus on these probably detailed questions. Let's say big area. It's creating sustainable impact and resilient communities. With you mentioned when we were talking about what is the ultimate goal of all these projects and mobilities, creating sustainability and resilience. So given your expertise, you were designing from scratch the SAM project. So can you share some insights into the strategies and frameworks you use in your design process to foster sustainability and resilience among communities? And connected to this, what is the specific role of educational mobility when it comes to empowering youngsters in the African continent? As you mentioned, you just mentioned that these youngsters, they went to Zaragoza, for instance. How formative, how wonderful this experience was. So how can we connect this big goal, sustainability, resilience, with specifically education, reaching these goals?
Okay, Teresa, this is a very, very good question indeed, and a key question at the moment, because we are in a situation which is so global, and young people feel sometimes a kind of lost in such a global challenges and global education and global world. Well, if you give me the permission, I will think about some, but think also about other projects that we have been developing those years, because some, of course, was written in my mind because I had some issue with I want to do something in Africa, and I know Africa like a European girl, a French girl, knowing about Africa, what she can look to the documentaries, movies, news, some podcasts, and a small community that I have had in France all over me, no? But now I think that even Sergio and I, we can say that we do not know what is Africa in general, but we have a lot of experience and we know a lot of realities. So to me, the first thing is to understand that to have such communities, you need to invest in education. And right now, authorities have demonstrated that they want really to invest in education. Even in Africa, even nationally, their priority is in education. They have known that thanks to a lot of inputs from, let's say, many countries, not only the first the European. I know that they know that education is the key, and they invest in education. Why? Because they want leaders for the future. They want to build those skills and to enable the young people to be entrepreneurs, but not entrepreneurs like an owner of an enterprise, a spirit of entrepreneurship. I can be a leader and an entrepreneur in my social life, not only in my professional life. So this education gives in Africa the basis of the future for the young people to be taking into account in the process of decision making, which is quite new in Africa, because in the past, even in Europe, indeed, young people didn't have the voice because they were a kind of part of the society that gave the possibility to have hands, working hands for the future. But now they know that this social cohesion is, young people are the leader of this decision process. So for me, one of the key to build a community sustainable and resilient is to give education. So it's being doing, let's say. It's a priority right now in almost all the countries in Africa to develop not only high education for a few, but vet education and non-formal education for a lot, for a big community of young people. And priority in vet education, as it is the working hands and the working force of the first and second sector, it's for them to have the skills of the future. I mean, agriculture, manufacturing, fishing industry, renewable energy, all those, the basement of the society, and not only the lawyers and the service sector with those high education people, but the base of the society, which are this working force, is under vet. And now, at the beginning, some 20 years ago, they were thinking only on high education because they wanted the leaders with education of high education. But right now, they understand that the voice of the young people are also available and valuable in the basement society. And this is a change.
Totally.
I've seen that in fundings opportunity, in tenders, in big organizations like GIZ, Agence Développement France, working and giving money, a lot of fundings in this part of education, which is the basement of the society. Okay? First, then to me, when you are asking me about resilient community, I'm directly thinking about social cohesion. Why and how in some we think that we built a social cohesion inside the program because we gave the opportunity first, equal opportunity to gender balance. We tried that. It's not easy at all. And in vet education, neither. Because in vet education, in a lot of fields of education, boys are the one that are educated and not so much girls. But I wrote this 50-50 program, and we really struggled a lot to have this 50-50. That is to say, those Nigerian people and Benin people coming to Saragossa from engineering fields of education, we had this. We had a gender balance group in both. It was incredible. And look, the girls in the companies in Saragossa were the most valuated by their tutor in enterprises. And they wanted to learn the double of their peers. It was incredible. So first, gender balance, but also inequalities. Of course, you should understand that in some, 80% of our schools in those 15 countries, 16 countries, not in Tunisia, indeed, but yes, in 80% of the countries, we were working with Salesians communities.
I remember.
Okay. Why do we think that it was a great partner? For two reasons. First, because it's a big network of vets, more than 170 vet schools in Africa. Then, because they were working with young people in risk of exclusion. This is the Don Bosco methodology from Italian point of view, which is giving the possibility to young people in the street, most of them even without structure, family structure, to get to be educated. So most of those people were coming from rural areas, and we gave this social cohesion to the program. And of course, also to have this social cohesion, you should talk about building trust. How do we build trust between the target groups, the end users, and all the organizations that are in between? Trying to have transparency. To me, to make a good community transparent, social cohesion, etc., you should be transparent. For Africa, for some organizations, this is not easy at all. Maybe some of them don't want to be transparent, others want but cannot, and others struggle a lot. And one of the key and one of the tools to be transparent, and there is no other opportunity, are to be international, to go and to try to know how do they do that in other contexts, in other geographical context, geopolitical context. If you open the door to those people and show good practices of how to be transparent, how to be really to be really open, it's the way. Internationalize them, give them capacity to go international. And you will give this opportunity to build trust, because they will have to, to justify everything, to really understand that when we are coming with a questionnaire, asking for data, asking for information, you need transparency. If not, you are not building a cohesion and a good community. Okay. After, you have to engage all the stakeholders in the channel. In some, we were asking to every single part of the channel of the mobility, that is to say, family, schools, educational mobility, directors, SME owners, ministries, everybody was in the channel. Everybody knew about what's going on. What is SAM? What do we want? What are we going to do? How? Give me the possibility to explain you so that I am transparent and I give you the opportunity to be on board. So I engage everybody. And as I engage everybody, I'm building an ecosystem which is equal. Because this mother of the students, but the director and the teacher and the future employer is in the channel, and they are talking together. And in Africa, it was not so clear. The people were quite isolated. So through SAM, we organized this big debate and this invitation to talk and to make a decision all together. And for some of them, it was incredible. It was the first time they were asked to give their decision, their opinion. No, okay. And then, of course, I'm going to talk a little bit around the second question. But of course, nowadays, to have a community with to be resilient, you should teach them sustainability, but not sustainability only like greening, circular economy, renewable energy, digitalization, and so on, but sustainability as well to the skills of the future. If you want to be a community and to have the opportunity to be strong in front of the future, I need to talk about sustainability, social, but also economical, but also green, etc., etc. And this climate change mitigation and this debate around what are we going to produce the energy of the future are key in Europe, but also are key in Africa as well, because Africa is a continent with great, great resources. They have everything. They have water, they have sun, they have minerals, they have a lot of things. And sometimes they have been gambled on this, and it's not fair, because they have this opportunity to really build sustainable government and sustainable economy. So to your community, you have to give these skills and this knowledge. And in some, we have always been asked to give this supplementary module to this sustainable community. And it was sometimes not so new. They started in some countries like Kenya or Nigeria or even Senegal, but some others, it was really new for them. They didn't know about that. And they knew that something was around, but they didn't have the possibility to lend this knowledge.
Wow.
And that's so, well, and of course, the final one, to me, you have to encourage entrepreneurship. I told this at the very beginning through education, but really the future leader of Africa and of the world are the ones that are from the very beginning, very young, asked to diversify their state mindset, asked to have this spirit of leadership, entrepreneurship, to really have the opportunity to build and encourage a community equal for all the young people. And we do this in some, because we have this entrepreneurship capacity building, but we do this a lot in Smart Step and Impulse. And it's not always giving this business plan, how to build a business plan, how to be a good manager, how to have this incubator of new ideas to have new businesses. It's not only this, it's also non-formal education to have the spirit of thinking out of the box. And in Africa, really, asking the people, young people, to think out of the box, it took us ages for them to understand that they can think out of the box, and they can exchange their opinion, their idea, even their fears, either their threats or their challenges. And for them, it was not easy, because they were kind of, should I say this? Maybe it's not politically correct. But we ask once and again for that. And those programs in capacity building, dealing with entrepreneurship inside, it's very, very important. And it builds pillars for your project in any fields. It builds pillars for a better society, a better local communities, let's say.
Wow, Beatriz, I've been taking notes, but I think we have food for thought for days and days, because this is super inspiring. And you have been mentioning several elements that somehow, and I'm going to share my screen so our participants can follow my idea at the moment. You have been connecting our next questions, and I would like to propose if we can, connect them somehow, because you were mentioning how important all these partnerships are, the relationship you have with the Salesians, with the Don Bosco, no? And the mindset they have, including all the marginalized, all the, left people who are left behind traditionally. And you have also mentioning, this change of mindset, how radical this has been through the projects that you are currently implementing, no? This change of building entrepreneurship, not only as an idea of creating a business, no? Creating, a new way of embracing life. So that's why I think it makes sense, and I'm going to minimize myself. I think it makes sense if we can combine somehow question 2, which is, as we already have give us a very elaborated glimpse, of how we develop skills in the 21st century job market. And I'm moving quickly to question 3, the role of global partnerships. You were mentioning accountability, transparency, the importance of internationalization, no? So I'm going now to go slowly through the both questions that you're already familiar with, but especially for our participants today, joining us today. So the second question we were, proposing, Beatrice, was about skills development. And the question was, in today's rapidly changing, evolving job landscape, what essential skills are the most critical for youngsters? What do they need to acquire? And let's move to the particular, some project, how this initiative in vocational training, international exchange, all the sustainable practices, and I really embrace your idea of sustainability, contribute to the professional growth and adaptability. And now, very comprehensive question 2, the role of international partnerships. So how international partnerships have been crucial, I guess, no? And definitely it's clear for the success of a project like SAM. And what is your advice for some of the organizations that are joining us today? I'm sure that we will have some questions in promoting, practices like the ones that SAM has shown us in building, this sustainable future. And, bringing these two questions now into the air, and I think we can combine them somehow.
Okay. For this, the skills of the future for Africa, they are exactly the same that we have in Europe. Why? Because these people are in a great continent, in a very, very promising continent. It's not a detail. It's not something weird and surprising that Europe is facing Africa and provided the main fundings to Africa, because Africa is providing the future resources, the future working hand and working labor, and the possibility for big companies to settle down and have their future production. So it's totally normal that they have exactly the same skills to acquire that in Europe or in United States or in China, which are digitalization is a challenge for them, most of them, mostly when you are not in the capital, big connection challenges, but this is the thing that is asking everywhere. Why? Because the main production of whatever, even agriculture, are through digitalization. So this is something that they have to acquire, but not only our young people, their teachers. This is the problem. We have to build capacity of the teachers. And this is one of the main challenges in Africa right now. The teachers should learn how to teach. And first, they have to acquire their skills first, and then they have to teach. Digitalization. Entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship and all the transversal skills that you have through communication, teamwork, critical thinking, languages, of course. Languages for African people are very, it's a problem for them. French-speaking countries don't know how to speak English, most of them. Maybe young people in the university, they do. But in vet education, or even in this basement of basic skills, they don't know. They know their language, which are local, and French. It's the same. I mean, English-speaking country, Africa, it's okay because they can deal with English. And Portuguese-speaking, maybe they are much dealing with English as well. We have Tunisia online. I've been in Tunisia. I had a lot of problem with young people in Tunisia in vet education. Of course, I'm French. I spoke French with them. It was okay. But it was not so, I mean, we were in agriculture as well, I should say. Okay, we were in two schools, in Fax and in Bukhar, in agriculture school. Of course, even if you are going to Spanish agriculture vet school, they don't know English either. But languages are a problem in terms of the capacities of the future, the skills of the future, okay? Sustainability, as you already mentioned, not only greening, but they should know how to make possible this climate change mitigation, these new jobs for the future in solar energy with Shine, and we have another one, Green Vet Africa. We realized that they knew a lot, and they had even solar stuff and tools, and they didn't know how to build and to install. And even the teacher. So first the teacher, then the students. Why? Because this is, of course, they can even produce those solar tools. So they have to know how to produce and to know how to install. So sustainable, renewable, whatever, dealing with climate change and new possibilities of energy are definitely the skills for the future in Africa. And then you have tourism. Mm-hmm. Tourism, why? Because of course we all know from Europe, Kenya, or Zanzibar, or Tanzania with those safaris, or South Africa. But of course, all the African countries are incredible opportunity in Tunisia. Tourism is definitely one of the main economic sector. So they know how to deal with the tourism because they have great landscape, great coasts, great jungle, great everything. But sometimes, for example, we are working now and we want to work in Congo, in RDC, or in Burundi, which are some countries that are not so touristic, but they have the resources to be such. So they have, tourism is definitely a sector and the fields of growth. And whatever dealing with circular economy, okay, recycling, trying, and this is the most challenging for Africa because they are not so much coherent in their way of developing priorities. Okay. So as they are thinking one priority one year and other year, they are not connecting so much their resources. So circular economy is the future for them, and maybe the way they can be sustainable in the future as by their own, not asking fundings from the exterior, from abroad. Okay.
Okay.
So this, for me, these are the skills for young people. But again, transversal. In some, you cannot imagine how strong are those people, those young girls and boys from Africa coming to Europe. And we had a session, Teresa, before the travel with each of them, many sessions online, other in situ, making them thinking about their fears and their challenging to travel abroad, because it was their first time traveling, even taking a flight, even changing a city. Some of them have never traveled in their life. So suddenly, people from Mali, from rural area in Mali, had to travel in Finland during winter time.
Oh my goodness.
Imagine what a challenge for them, not only personal, but also in terms of logistics, for them to get used to the idea to take a flight of how many hours, I don't know, to talk another language, because Mali are talking French. In Finland, you can guess that French is no way, etc., etc. But really, the resilience of those young people for the first time abroad, in winter time, knowing the snow for the first time. Even Tunisian people went to Finland because we had agriculture and they wanted to know how they grow those magnificent pine trees and so on and so on. So really, we realized that, okay, this is something that we have to develop, to work on this. But young people, African, European, Finnish, Tunisian, or Chinese people, young people, are a generation of resilience. They know how to deal with the change. They do know that. And they have some skills, very hidden skills that even the teacher or even a mother didn't know. And suddenly they develop this from scratch, from zero. And this was amazing to see how those people managed for 1 month to be in another context from zero. And 1 month after, they came back to their country, to their situation, to their reality, to make the change in their community, to talk and to share and to exchange their idea, opinion, and new life, but not this kind of, what they have in Finland. We don't have this here. No. Only the experience of thinking and going out of the box.
Completely. I just rolled up this quote. Young people are the generation of resilience. I fully agree. That some project is proving it. You started in the mid of COVID. I remember when we met in Brussels. I think it was the second mobility, isn't it?
Yes.
The organization at the organization level. And I remember some of the conversations, the level of inspiration, like as you are mentioning, thinking out of the box, the extent to which this has the power to transform the community. And what we can see at Youth Proactive now, seeing the example of Mundus, the goal at the end of the day is transformation, this mutation, to some extent. And, achieving this, and especially with young minds, this is the future, sustainable future. So
you know what, Teresa? Finally, what is the final lesson is organization, and people from my generation have to do a lot to give the opportunity to those young people to have the chance to demonstrate what they are capable of. And the young people of 19 years old or 20 years old right now, if you don't provide him with the tools, and it's our stuff from my generation and the let's say the young the eldest people, you won't give them any possibility. But from their part, they are open, they are ready, they are really ready to go.
Wow. Yes, it's this generational relationship, building this
Right.
future. Fully agree. Beatrice, I'm so inspired. Really, I feel that wow, so much information, all these messages of empowerment, seeing everything you have been achieving and the present, and what is the future waiting. And I think that I'm talking on behalf of probably everyone here today and all the people that have been benefiting from the Sound Project. Thank you very much, because bringing this vision of change, this is the possibility of creating a new and different tomorrow, really. And now I think we have 10 more minutes. I'm taking the freedom to use an extra bit of time. Is this okay for everybody? We use an extra minutes, because I know that our Tunisian friends, colleagues have questions, and I'm going to check the chat. Mr. Jafar, would you like to ask the question directly, or would you prefer me to read it?
No problem.
Oui, d'accord, je parle.
Okay.
D'accord. Merci. Alors, so Mr. Jafar from Padil Association in Tunisia, he's wondering, what are the eligible criteria for African and European organizations wishing to participate in the SAM program, and how can they maximize the impact of mobility and cooperation in the field of education and vocational training?
Okay, good question, this one. Okay, SAM is not a SAM is not a program. It's a project. It has a beginning and an end. We ended in April this year, after almost 5 years. Because of COVID, we have like 1 year extra. And as a pilot, what is your name, Sahim, no? As a pilot, Sahim, it gave some inspiration and results to the European Commission, I mean, EACA, European Agency for Education, to think about, is it possible in the future to include a mobility program or mobility scheme in the Erasmus program between Africa and Europe? Because at the moment, it's possible only in higher education, okay? It's not possible in vet education. If you want to send a student or a teacher to Europe to study, to have internship or whatever, it's not possible, okay? So what they decided in 2022, 2 years after the beginning of SAM, and not waiting until 4 years that we ended, it's because they saw tangible results already. And they decided to say, okay, we don't know about mobilities, but for sure about capacity building in vet, we should do something now. And we should build this capacity in vet for non-EU country from Europe. So now you can go and ask and apply in capacity building in vet. Can you introduce mobilities in this program? Yes. That is to say, imagine in Smart Step. In Smart Step, we are in Tunisia, okay? Smart Step is about entrepreneurship. Oh, no, sorry, Smart Step, no, Pulse. We are in Tunisia with Pulse, but it's the same, entrepreneurship. So we build capacity for teachers in vet, Sahim, and we use mobilities to have this program of exchange and to connect the peer-to-peer. So to be, let's say, not to have a capacity building from Europe, going to Tunisia and making things, but giving the opportunity through mobilities to know each other better, to really witness what is a vet school, I don't know, in electricity in Italy and then in Tunisia, to make possible exchange and comprehensive program. So it's possible. And the call for proposal is each year in February, this next year, 27th, is the deadline. Who is eligible, Sahim? Every single organization in education is eligible in your country and in Europe. And of course, in region 9, your country is in region 3, which is northern part of MENA countries, what we say, southern part of Mediterranean, okay, region 3. You have an envelope, I think it's about 5 million euros. Each project are 500,000, so you have a kind of 12 project funded in vet education. But now, this year, you have also in youth. That is to say that in youth, all organizations are eligible as well. When I say all organizations, I say vet school, universities, young youth organization, ministries, enterprises, chamber of commerce, whatever. I mean, the list, you have it in the guide, in the Erasmus guide 2025, which has been published like 2 weeks ago. And you can see the eligibility. Now, you cannot apply. The European organization should apply. That is to say that if you want to be invited or you even want to deliver an idea to an organization to make possible this cooperation and to build a project for next call for proposal, you should insert with your PIC number, the reference number in Erasmus+, and you put you in the database of this call for proposal, capacity building in vet education or capacity building in youth education. You write that you are interested to work in this, and this field, and you will be contacted by a European organization, or even if you have partners in Europe that I'm sure that you have, you can ask them to apply with an idea of yours, or even theirs, okay? So this is the way SAM has, let's say, pushing a little bit to change the program. But in 2027, when this program is going to close to open another one, we don't know. I hope, and I'm doing all the advocacy possible. You cannot know how many times I'm in Brussels and providing all the results of SAM, whatever they ask me to. I want to have a mobility scheme between our continents, because it's really the future of the sustainable migration and the sustainable mobilities of workers in an older way. And this is for me, this is key. But I'm not the European Commission. I'm not the one taking the decision. I'm the one knocking the door once and again, and not stopping, because all my summers, which are the organization of SAM, are pushing me and asking me to do so. Okay? Am I clear? Anyway, Sahim, contact me through Teresa if you need any.
Yes. I can work as
Thank you very much.
as a liaison between the two of us. Just letting you know, we have 3 more minutes. I was wondering, I know Hamed, Fardous, if you have more concrete, specific questions that are this level, I think a bit technical, if I'm more than happy to put you in touch with Beatrice, and you
Maybe
can know.
Our last question, maybe a last one. Very.
Hamed, if you want to ask the question, please feel free to do so. Yeah.
It's actually not a question. I just wanted to add on a couple of things that Ms. Has just mentioned. So if Ms. Firdaus has a question, that would be more.
Yes. I think that Farda's question somehow has been answered now by Beatrice, explaining what SAM project, SAM as a project that is already finalized, and if there is further collaboration, I would really advise Mr. Zafar and Fardous to directly reach Beatrice to answer more tailored and specific questions, if this is fine with everybody. Yeah, wonderful. Wow, I cannot believe that we have been 1 hour and a half. Thank you very much in any way, Hamad. Thank you for stepping by. Thank you. But I cannot believe it's been 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, Beatrice, because the richness of this conversation leaves our last Youth Goal webinar of the year with extremely positive vibes and a really positive vision for what the future is awaiting for all of us. I'm really looking forward to follow all the projects that Mundus is currently developing in the African continent, because as you said, no, Beatrice, it's such a rich continent with so many different realities, linguistic, cultural, and anthropological. I'm really just being partners with Padil. We have been learning a lot from the Tunisian reality, and really looking forward to get to know more and to read more reports and get all this quantitative updated data that you are bringing into the table, which again, from the research part, really appreciate to have like raw data that it's coming from the reality.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.
Anyway, you should know that normally, as I mentioned before, Sergio Lagarde is the one in charge of the Mundus action in Africa.
Yeah.
And it is definitely for us a very big action of the organization. Right now, it is our priority. We are not only working in Erasmus+, we are working in other program as well, because we think there are so many things not only to do in Africa, but to learn in Africa. And whoever is interested in making the step for the first time, or maybe not, yes, don't hesitate to contact, because we want to apply as many as possible, as much as possible. But also, I should say that at the very beginning, when this started, we were very few on the scenario, and now many organizations willing to go. We have to you know, to think a lot how we are going to have our action there and the impact. So it's not many projects to have a lot of organization and money. No. It is not this. I mean, more and more, we should be accurate. And that's why when you are dealing with a project from Europe, from an organization which don't know about the country or the territory, it's quite challenging. So you really need to have this input. That's why if you contact us, we open a debate and we listen to you first, to the non-EU, let's say, first, because the ideas are getting from them, not from us.
Wonderful. I think this is the way to proceed, isn't it? To really get to know the partners and the reality on the ground before having some kind of vision. Really. Wow, thank you. I think we're coming to an end. I could be talking with you, Beatrice, and all of you for 1 more hour minimum, with no doubt, I promise. However, our time. Go on.
The one who wants to have a vision of the experience and the whole experience of SAM, we have a short movie. It's not so short, it's 40 minutes, but you know, to talk about such a rich project for 40 minutes, it's very short for us. And it's in YouTube channel of SAM. You have it in the website. And I invite all the people because it's very touching and very inspiring to see this short movie, documentary, let's say.
Thank you very much for that. I have to watch it. And also thank you for Sergio for all the help in between. That was very also insightful, getting to know on the ground what all of you are doing. And I want really to quote you again, Beatrice, what you say: young people are the generation of resilience. And I really would like to close these Youth Goal webinars for this year, 2024, with this quote that is inspiring all of us, this connection between generations. We are really into the future of generations here in Youth Proactive. We just have a new commissioner. Yesterday was announced Education and Culture. So many changes are happening at the EU level. We will have a new multi-annual financial framework in 2 years. Time is flying. And I think that our common and collaborative effort is the way to proceed. We try to do this every day with our tiny steps, which at the end of the day matter a lot. So thank you for all of you, all the participants that have been supporting us month after month. And thanks a lot, Beatriz, Asociación Mundus, for this insightful, inspiring time. And more is coming in 2025. But in the meantime, I know it's still early, but I wish all of you a wonderful winter break, holidays, Christmas, whatever you celebrate, make the most of it, which is also, it's important to take care. So again, muchísimas gracias. Thank you. Merci, shukran to all of you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you very much.